Oh,
Okay.
that one's easy.
This is what we're seeing.
This is a bowl, something that you'd maybe see on a table. A vinyl.
What did it used to be?
As opposed to a shelf.
A vinyl record.
Hello and welcome back to JobsWorth. This week I am joined by Alice Skeats and Ben Nichols, who are the founders of a business called Remade. Now, I've dragged, begrudgingly, my 9-year-old Aussie Labradoodle, Hugo, into this introduction. And that is because the brand that Alice and Ben have founded is focused on creating premium accessories, things like leads, collars, harnesses for dogs. And their owners, who obviously had the money and the dexterity in their fingers to buy these products. They do other things. We do talk about the product, but I think at the heart of it, this conversation is more about how they founded the business, what led them to create this brand. We talk about mental health. We talk about the pursuit of finding meaning and purpose in the job that you do. And we also talk about some of the less obvious elements of starting a company, which is the community that you build and the friendships you make along the way. And you can tell that Ben and Alice are at the start of something big. They're just 2 years into their journey as founders. And the love that they've got in this community of people they've brought together is incredible. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. As always, if you want to get involved in the comments and let us know what you think, that would be fantastic. And stay tuned for next week. We always start with the same question on the podcast, which is the opener. So if you've listened to a couple of episodes now, you'll probably know what's coming.
Yeah.
But when you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up? And I am going to start, ladies first, with Alice.
Okay.
So Alice, what did you want to be?
So I really wanted to be a TV presenter or a radio presenter.
Okay.
So I really had my heart set on being on Blue Peter. And I was quite lucky that from a young age, we actually got a PC because my stepdad worked in IT. And so I was quite young to have a computer, and I would sit upstairs in the study with a webcam and a microphone recording like radio shows, stories, just trying to get my voice out there, which is a bit cringy now that I'm sat in this seat.
I mean, we're all sat in front of mics, in front of cameras now, so it kind of lines really well with what what we're doing, at least in this moment. And we will touch upon what you're doing now. So there's obviously a through line there. So you were literally sat in front of a webcam doing pieces for yourself.
Yeah.
That's not sad, by the way. I'm just trying to clarify.
Sometimes I would bring my friends onto it as well.
Okay. How old were you at this point?
This probably ranged pre-computer, probably from as young as like 6. So when my sister got like a video camera as well, there's 7 years between us, she got a video camera for her 18th. I was narrating the Christmas home videos.
Amazing. Wow.
And then obviously we got a computer. I would bring my friends on it. I would do that. And then like the era of like MSN and webcams.
MSN chat was just the one, wasn't it?
It's great.
Yeah.
I was just up in that tiny little box room recording. And actually, that dream went on for quite a long time, even when I was at uni. Okay. And in my second year of uni, my mum, she's quite religious, she goes to church, was speaking to a cold case detective at Essex Police, who was another member of the church, told him how I wanted to be in TV. And he was like, oh, Essex Police have a TV unit.
Right.
Why doesn't she do some work experience there? So I was a bit like, that's not really the TV experience I
wanted. The glamorous world that I was hoping to enter.
Yeah. But I went and did some experience there, and I absolutely loved it. And like that was mostly in the PR and media team. That's where I got my kind of taste for PR. But what I loved about it was doing something for good. So I actually sat on like a murder trial, and I think I just realised then that I like storytelling I like talking, but I can use that to do a job and help other people.
And that ties in so beautifully with what you're doing now and where you're working now and the kind of thing that you're doing. So that's great. And it's always nice to see the connection. I started asking that question to people because I wanted there to be a connection. There very often isn't. Like not even tenuous connection. And that's fine because I'm going to ask you now, Ben. And you might say there is nothing attached to this. So when you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
There wasn't anything. And we've had this conversation. Honestly, there was not a single job role. And I remember being a kid, and there was obviously I want to be a vet, I want to be a fireman. There was nothing. There was nothing that I saw or looked at that I thought I'd really like to do that. I remember my nan, so my uncle was a policeman, and I remember she was like, you'd be a great policeman. It's like I knew from an early age, did not want to do that. I think in a way it's kind of frustrating because I didn't have much personal direction because there wasn't anything that I really looked at and thought, or that I was just naturally drawn to. And that probably continued until I was, I'd say probably my mid-teens. And there were just these little things that I started to notice, which were things I didn't really pay attention to until my mid-30s, but I'd wash the cars on a Sunday. The only time I had this feeling of satisfaction was looking out the window to look at the cars, the job that I'd done. Because it's the only thing that I actually found rewarding. In short, there wasn't a single job role, but I think for me, I knew that doing something that I could see physically that I was proud of, that gave me that feeling of... I can relate to that so much. There's something tangible at the end of the time that you've invested and the energy you've invested in doing something. I have told this story a couple of times, but I used to be a scaffolder in a previous life. There were parts of that job that I hated, parts of the job I don't miss. Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the dead of winter, trapping your hand between scaffold tubes is never the one. But actually turning up somewhere with a group of your mates, doing a few hours really hard work, standing back and looking at something and going, I did that, or I played a part in that. That's tangible. Whereas, again, what I guess to a degree, Ben, me and you what you used to do and what I currently do, there's something very intangible. Where do you find the wins sometimes? That can be quite difficult to see where that can come from. So really interesting for both of you. Where did you both meet?
So we actually met on Bumble.
Okay.
So 2021, wasn't it? Yeah, I think we matched in the January, and then it fizzled out. We matched over our love for roast dinners as well.
So I'm coming at this from a position of ignorance. I've never been on Bumble, for the record. But how do you match for roast dinners? Just to give anyone...
So you actually... It's Bumble was an app that was started for the women to be...
Make the first move.
Okay. And I think on your profile, it might have said, what's your favourite meal, or what was your last... something about
something about that, and I think this is the thing is we're almost polar opposites, but in a way that I think that we also complement each other. So Bumble for me is I was in a long-term relationship, and so was Alice pre that. So I'd never been on online dating apps. Bumble was the woman has to make the first move. So I'm terrible with articulating myself or messaging or communication. Terrible. So Bumble was perfect because Alice reached out first and started the conversation. And I'm actually surprised you persisted because you should get one or two sentences back.
Sometimes I was is he interested? I don't know. But
that's how it started. And that's how you met. Okay.
So and then it was in the middle of COVID as well. So
what an interesting time to meet and start a relationship.
We went. Our first date was walking along the seafront. We got some hot donuts. It was a lot of outdoor dates because nothing was open as well.
I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to find stuff to do that you could do because nothing was open. And I mean, especially around here, you'd have to book in advance, weeks and weeks and weeks. And we're both all over the place. Everything's last minute. So that was difficult. But I think there's probably a recurring theme of even to this day, the stuff that we do is always outdoors. It was good.
So that was where the relationship started. And you were both. Am I right in thinking you were both working in some form of tech at the time, from slightly different angles? So tech sales, and then PR, marketing, comms for an app. Remind me the name of the app.
It's called Nextdoor.
And I did make a note of that, but I've forgotten it. So I do apologise, but we'll give Nextdoor a shout out as well. Just very quickly sidebar, I love the fact that their focus is on communities and neighbourhoods. I think that tech for good, where you were saying if you can marry your love of getting behind a mic, doing some content, but then marry that with something that does good for people. It sounds like it's ticking a lot of those boxes.
It does. And I think that for me, even that was my first job actually outside of public sector.
Okay.
So pre to that, I'd always worked. Actually, my first ever job was PR for Southend Councils. I think it's the reason why I'm a bit of a PR girl for Southend.
We talk to a lot of people that feel like they work on a tourist board for this area because they've just got so many lovely things. So I'm like, are you being paid for this? But it's nice.
And then I actually did work in law enforcement. So I worked for the City of London Police and their PR department. And then I just wanted to go over to the other side. And Nextdoor ticked all the boxes because it was about where you lived and I was passionate about where I lived. I was also launching partnerships with police forces, so that was kind of like my old job. But what I loved about it, it was all about bringing people online and forging like good connections, but then taking those offline to actually really build like in real life community.
Yeah, because it can be quite superficial, can't it? If you're doing it all through a user interface on. I mean, my example of these neighbourhood community groups are WhatsApp groups and Facebook, and you kind of don't, unless you get out and meet people in the street, you don't know who people are. It's very surface deep. And it's nice to foster that sense of community, I think.
And when we first met, I mean, I think I'm one of these people that, you know, I don't necessarily say a lot, but your passion, I think just speaking with you, like your passion, even just speaking about it then, about like Nextdoor and community, I was really drawn to that. Like, I think for me, is, you know, even if you're carving wooden spoons, you know, in your spare time, if you're passionate about something, I'm just really, really drawn to it. And it's so nice to have the conversation with someone, you know, especially during COVID, right, where you're kind of isolated.
And I think that's what drew me to Ben. Like I think on our first date, we started talking about tech. And I was like, he's got a real like hunger and drive and like he's motivated. I find that a really attractive quality. Like I'm a really driven person and I find that attractive in another person.
It's inspiring too, isn't it? It leaves you enthusiastic. It's like it charges you up. And I get that from doing this podcast. I sit opposite people and I say it a lot. You can feel enthusiasm and energy coming from people when they're speaking about things that they're passionate about. And there is a magnetism to that. There is a connection that builds from there. And what Nextdoor are doing seems to align really nicely. And going back to what you said you wanted to be when you grew up, that seems to really connect. So that's fantastic. And Ben, tech sales. So we come from, I would say there's a lot of crossover. Your tech sales, tech recruitment. I'm not going to bang on about what I do for a living because it's boring. But what was your experience in it? And also, did you leave school, college, university? We're rushing forward a little bit now because we could spend the whole podcast talking about education and people's experience with that. But when you left college, did you go to university? Did you have a goal or a target that you wanted to work in that space? Was that kind of a destination type of job for you, or more one that you found yourself in?
So I found myself in it. But so I think for me, so at university, I didn't really want to go to university. I had a girlfriend at the time whose, you know, parents were really pushed them on, you know, academics. So for me, it's more a case of I didn't want to feel like I was being like left behind in life, because I didn't really have any direction, didn't know what I wanted to do in terms of a job. So I went to university and had an amazing time. I had a really good time. But towards the end of the third year, after partying, you know, I knew that I was going to come out with a 2-2. And I think at that time, people were starting to talk about going into finance. And for me, it's, you know, there's always this feeling and this recurring theme throughout my entire life, like not being good enough. And so if I was trying to overcome that with certain things. So for me, at that period, it was, I've got to get a good job. Right.
And good job in that point was defined by an opportunity to earn money. What was the definition of a good job?
The money was that, but I think it was something that was working for like a prestigious company.
Okay.
So, you know, because I had that kind of lack of self-worth, and this is something I didn't recognise at the time, I thought that I would get that sense of satisfaction or fulfilment or...
validation maybe
maybe a bit of validation, that, you know, I'm doing okay, that I'm not how I feel in that moment by working for a big company. But, you know, finance was, you know, I didn't have the grades, I wasn't drawn to it.
They look for a certain level, don't they? They look at university degrees and what you came out with.
So I kind of fell into a tech sales role, and I'm so glad I did, because at the time, especially for the first couple of years, I absolutely loved it. And I grew up in in Suffolk in the middle of nowhere. And although that I love the idea of that now, I just wanted to get out. So I thought, go to London, work for a big company, which I did, work in sales, and I was really drawn to tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? I think a lot of people that do live in more rural areas, this is a generalisation because I'm sure there are a lot of kids who turn into teenagers that want to stay around there. But I guess the general consensus is there's so many people then want to get into the city, have more to do, have that London or city lifestyle, wherever that might be. And once you've done it, which we'll go on to explore or touch upon, you've checked that box. Like, what's next? How long can that sustain you moving forward? But I get that. This is going to segue, hopefully nicely. I do want to talk about the genesis of Remade, which is your company that we're here to talk about, alongside how you have got into that, how you've built it, how you're juggling that with another job too, all these weird and wonderful things. But so what was the genesis of it? That's a broad question for a reason. What was the first spark that made you think I need to set up a business? Not necessarily Remade, but what was the first spark? I'll ask you, Ben, if that's okay.
Of course, yeah. So there wasn't one thing.
Okay, it was like a domino thing.
There were three key things, and we can touch on it. The main thing was going back to that feeling of washing the cars. We bought the biggest pumpkin we could find one Halloween.
Very random.
From Lidl, and it was so big that we had to strap it into the back seat of the car.
It was seat belted up.
Wow.
It was called Peter.
It's called Peter, and it was one of these things like
name the pumpkin.
We named
It's
the
that
pumpkin.
big. Okay, no, I get that. I can relate.
And we carved the pumpkin, and it looked awful. Like, it looked absolutely awful. But it was one of those things that I kept looking back at the pumpkin, and I had this feeling that I hadn't had since I was probably 17, 18, which was like a sense of pride. It's something that I've done, and that I can look back at, even though it looks terrible. Like, it felt really fulfilling.
Yep.
You just loved doing something with your hands.
I didn't think of myself as a creative person. I didn't think of myself as someone who's very good with their hands at all. It was more of just I like this feeling, and it's like a natural, fulfilling feeling that I had. Yeah, that was the first thing. The other was living in Southend. We go up and down, by the sea quite a lot.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Where we go walking?
Yeah, as in like, it's not the
along the seafront.
Along the seafront. That's it. Yeah.
Not the promenade.
But it's I've had struggles my entire life with mental health, and dogs are. I think throughout the worst times, and I'm happy to go into it, during 2019, 2020, the only time that I actually felt full stop. I didn't have any feeling for a long time, and like a little sense of happiness. And also, like, I actually felt safe. So after kind of meeting Alice, if things were quite bad, Alice would phone up the neighbour and we'd take the dogs for a walk. Right. So that was like my safe space.
Yeah.
So coming back to kind of where Remade came from, I'm not necessarily a people person, which is crazy for being in tech sales.
You definitely prefer dogs more than humans.
But I would, and I'm an introvert, but I would stop people on the seafront and like ask to speak with the dog, and like
he waves to them.
Like, this is so embarrassing.
You are the definition of a dog person from the sound of it.
He will cross the road to go and talk to a dog. Like, you can see him beeline, particularly an old English bulldog is his favourite. And then like he'll also loiter a bit if he can see one coming. Absolutely. Because he's like, I want to go and say hello to that dog. Yeah.
So it was that. And then it was just noticing that, people would spend, or put so much kind of time and effort into their appearance. And the dogs are, is this thing that kind of makes you feel good, right? It's this friendship, companionship. And I think just from being out and about and climbing and hiking, as a kid, I was like, everyone was having like these road plays. I was like, I could make something that I think is actually better. Yeah. And it kind of came from that pumpkin, which is I want to make something with the dogs, being outdoors. Everything kind of came together with this just idea of why not make a rope lead. Yeah. And it was just that. It wasn't this, let's turn it into business. It was, I just want to make something.
It's the age-old story of seeing a bit of a gap in the market that you've been able to identify. Yeah. And it's obviously something, again, when you think of the people or the animals that are going to be enjoying that product too, you relate to that. It's got a really positive connection because of what it does for you too, from a a mental health perspective. So it feels like a really lovely kind of trifecta to push down a certain product. When Ben, because I'm assuming Ben was the catalyst.
Yeah.
When Ben came to you, what was that conversation like? So Ben's still in tech sales at that time.
Yeah.
Having struggles. You've seen something, a light in his eye maybe at that point that's made you think, oh, he's got an idea.
Yeah.
And now he said it out loud. And what do you do at that point? What's your reaction?
You do have ideas, and he has had a couple of other like business ventures. So when he came to me with this, I was just like, you do you, hun. Like dog leads, that sounds fun. Like rope leads. And like you bought some mountain climbing rope, didn't you? And you spent hours looking at YouTube, practicing different knots, learning different techniques. But it kind of, I felt you did it for a few weeks or a few months, and then it kind of phased out.
Yeah.
And then Ben left a job and was on gardening leave. And I just said to you, like, now's the perfect, like, you've got that mocked up. Why don't you try and make a few more prototypes and give it a go? And then he was just full throttle making it. And then I remember I don't think I kind of like spoke to you about it after that. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, I mentioned it, and he had a logo, he had a website, he'd set up an Etsy, and then I discovered he had an Instagram. And
it was terrible, by the way.
It was.
Yeah.
And I was just really surprised he got it off the ground. But when I then looked at this Instagram account, it was loads of memes of Old English bulldogs and just like some pictures of his brother's dog that he'd mocked up this lead on. And that's where I was like, ooh, maybe I could help you a little bit with brands and marketing. But that your first ever sale, I was convinced he was being scammed. Probably because I'm glass half empty and worked for the police.
Pessimistic on that front.
I was like, this isn't a real person. And what he's doing, he's trying to access like the bank accounts or like the money's going to like, I
like
just
a laundering thing going on.
I just thought, or he's going to
afoot.
return it. And they didn't. And then the orders just kept coming in. I was like, oh, I actually think he's onto something.
Yeah.
That's really lovely to hear that, because it's very easy, and it probably shows that the strength of your relationship. It's very easy to go, yeah, do you know what? I always believed it was going to be a success. I always knew it was going to land. But the reality is, if you ask my partner how many times I've gone to her with an idea, she's deaf to it to a degree now, and it's not her fault. It's because I just have so many. And I think that's the reality. Yeah. If you're someone that is constantly searching maybe for something else, especially if you're in a job that you don't like, you're trying to find an avenue to just give me something that I can get passionate about or feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's really lovely that you can be honest to say, at first, I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And I think my friends at first, when I was like, oh, Ben's like come up with this idea and I'm helping them out, they were a bit like, right, okay then. Do what you like. But it did rocket quite quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, I think to be honest, Alice has always been really supportive. And I think this is, again, one of the qualities that I was really, really drawn to. Like I've had, crazy ideas and, I talk about weird stuff about things that I notice, and she's always been really supportive, and that was really helpful. With the friends and stuff, that was actually quite difficult because when I would speak with people about it, because I'd maybe had ideas before, it's almost like it became like a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
So I think if it wasn't something that actually made me feel, it was like therapy in a way, like making these leads, that actually made me feel good. It wasn't like I was just doing it for money or for a business. Yeah. I probably would have quit because it wasn't something that really, making a dog lead right out of rope. It doesn't.
It's very random.
Yeah, it's like it's a dog lead, but to me it was so much more.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Obviously, the process of creation. If we go back to Peter the pumpkin,
the
process of creating, carving a pumpkin, doing something with your hands, going back to again my scaffolding analogy, which is something tangible. Looking back and thinking, I've done that, or I've played a part in that. You've got that box checked.
Yes.
Do you think it could have been anything that you were creating? Obviously, we're gelling dogs which have had an impact on you, as they do with so many of us. Like, of course, I've grown up with dogs my entire life, and there is something completely therapeutic about being around a dog. For other people, it's other animals, but I am a dog person, so I can relate to that. But do you think you would have gone down a route of creating something? It's very clearly that seemed to be a box that you wanted to have.
I mean, possibly. I think with it would have to be something that that provides a good experience for somebody.
Okay.
So when I'm making each of these leads, I see it as like an honor almost, because someone's going to take it and actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, struggling so much, it even now, right, it gives me a sense of purpose that my time has been it's actually been worthwhile to make something that someone else can enjoy.
And I don't want to speak for you either, but again, going back to when I've been in dark moments or dark spells, being able to be mindful, or at least have your brain can go somewhere where you're in that flow state.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that comes from being creative.
Yeah.
For so many people, definitely for me, being able to write something creative, being able to draw, being able to do whatever with your hands allows your brain to tap into a different room rather than sit there and ruminate.
Yeah.
And have conversations with yourself, which can be quite dangerous
Yeah.
sometimes. It really can. So that's lovely. As again, Alice, from your perspective, the practicalities of this. Ben's had a successful job in tech sales.
Yeah.
He's done well with that. He's now talking about setting up his own business. How do you strike the balance between being supportive of that, but also thinking we still need to pay bills?
Yeah.
We've still got finances to sort out. Like this
Very
is
topical.
It's
very topical. Yeah.
I bet,
I think I at first thought it was more of a hobby. And so it was just being operated from our kitchen, which is also my workspace and also the lounge.
Oh, wow.
So this was a little bit tricky because we started off with one rope colour, and then we started in July. By the August, we had like another two. So obviously Ben's buying a lot of stock.
What year was this? Sorry, just to take people back.
23.
23.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So we just hit our second birthday.
Oh, of course you did, your anniversary.
And so he's got all this rope, which he's storing in plastic boxes. Then he's ordering in all these carabiners, and he's got leather, and he's punching holes into it. And there's like leather bits on the floor, and there's shredded paper, and then there's boxes. And so he's then carrying...
That does wonders for a relationship, doesn't it, as well?
He's carrying it from the spare room into the kitchen, putting it all on the kitchen island. And at the beginning, it was like fine. But then obviously the volume goes up. So he's working in the evenings, at the weekends. And then it gets to the point where it's like Saturday night, I don't want to sit with you in my vision making this lead.
Yeah.
And it did put a strain on our relationship.
Yeah, it really
and so
did.
I just went on Rightmove and started looking at office spaces, like really dingy, awful ones.
On purpose, the dingier the better.
I was just like,
It's
cheap.
like, get any-
I was like, we
Yeah.
need it to be cheap because there's not obviously anybody really
You just need
coming
a
in.
space to do something.
And then that's when we found the gasworks. And I think that was a really pivotal moment because it gave Ben space. And that was also another thing that was always a bit of a struggle. We live in a small 2-bed flat. I'm working my day job, you're working your day job, you're doing a small business. Like it was just hard.
And and the leather that's on the leads, I would use a hammer at the time and a letterpress.
Got you.
So I'd take the cutting board in the kitchen. As you can imagine, Alice is probably just over here, and I'm
My
hammering
brand new
into the
kitchen
leather.
knives as well.
Yeah.
And in fact, that kitchen knife has never returned. It's still at the workshop.
Yeah.
He cuts
Yeah.
his leather with one of our Saboteur kitchen knives.
There's
So
the
that
provenance
was
of that.
a little bit stressful.
But that was the moment. I think for me, it was again maybe a little bit of validation that Alice was like, okay, you can have another space. Because for me, it was never big enough to warrant like an office space. But going to the gasworks and we met Ken and it's now Greg who's got it. It's completely changed it.
Yeah.
It's one, I think, just being outside the home gave me a bit of confidence that this is real. And I'm in this space
this is
that I
a
really
proper
enjoy.
business.
And it is a proper business, yeah. I think being there the very first month, we grew by. We almost doubled.
Yeah.
One, because I could store stuff, and two, because it felt like this is a business now, as opposed to just me doing it as a hobby.
That I think that's an interesting point to make for people that are listening to this. And again, we're trying to, I guess, people that gravitate to this podcast, as well as wanting to know more about other people in Lee.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They also are looking for insight on how you went about doing something. And I think if they've got a side hustle or a side project going, sometimes it's incredibly scary to think, is it big enough or is it serious enough that I can take that step into the real world and make it, again, a tangible thing?
Yeah.
And they will relate to that.
Yeah.
And maybe look at that and think, well, yeah, if Ben and Alice can do that, then why can't I do that?
And we couldn't afford to. So we've just turned 2. I've only just paid myself for the very first time this month.
Well, congratulations, because that's a huge milestone.
And it's only just enough to pay the bills, just pay my personal bills. But I didn't want to take any money out of the company because I wanted to put it into new products. I wanted to be able to give customers a product that was at the right price. I thought that there was enough value for that price.
So much so, like our first round, well, actually probably the full 4 rounds of collars that Ben has made have always been sold at a loss.
Right.
Because he wants the customers to have them at a good price. And he wanted to get them out there, and he was happy to take that loss. So
this is where it's difficult from going with something that you do feel passionate about and that means so much to me, like emotionally, and is like a therapy to it. But it also has to be a business.
Money.
It has because otherwise, I can't live or I can't eat. So it's that fine balance between the two.
It's purpose-led. From the sound of it, it's purpose-led, which I think when you're making products...
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, there are so many brands out there, I'm sure, that would claim to be, we are a purpose-led brand and we want to do things right for the consumer. But you can tell, when it's just you make all of this.
Yeah.
So it's literally your blood, sweat and tears going into, hopefully not all of that, but it's going into that product and you're creating it and you're packaging it and you're sending it out.
Yeah.
So when you say that, I believe it. Because there's no one else to pass it down to. It's literally you.
Every single product, apart from the collars that I design myself, every single part of it. We sent it to a company in Somerset who make handbags because they have to be stitched properly so that they are robust and they'll last a lifetime.
But that's a commitment to making a quality product that you know at this stage is outside of your wheelhouse, however much YouTube you watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a point. Everything else I make myself, and it's... At some point, maybe we'll have to have someone who helps us. I don't really want to necessarily outsource it, but maybe that's a control thing. And that's something that I've got to learn to give up. But I do not want to put anything out there that's like subpar or when someone opens it, they don't feel happy to receive that and feel like we've really put effort and time and energy into.
I can relate to that. I think me and the team are exactly the same with the podcast. Like we could be doing something a lot less of a setup and putting this out there, and the sound could be not recorded on these mics and we couldn't have lighting, which people can't see when they watch this on YouTube, but we've got a lighting set up and we've got camera rigs and all of these things. We don't have to do that, but we want to be proud of what we're putting out there. So that's that really relates. And that comes through. That's how you build. You'll know this more than me, Alice, but that's how you build a brand that's based on purpose and based on authenticity, which is something that you discussed around how you've built the Remade brand. And it sounds your injection of your experience has kind of, if this is fair to say, Ben,
absolutely
has elevated now what you're doing. Because I look at your social media feed and it is so perfect. I say perfectly polished. It's so well produced. It's so clearly your brand.
Thanks.
And has a real tonality about it and consistency.
Yeah.
And I would imagine from what you've said about memes with British or Old English Bulldogs, has moved a little, the needle has shifted.
Kind of, advanced. And I think I know a lot of businesses and brands say this, but I really, really feel and believe it, and I think we can show it, is there is so much more than a brand and a business. It is a community.
Yeah.
I talk for hours every night with our customers. Some of them, I now have their numbers. We voice note. We've been on holiday, on a walking holiday with some of them.
That's so lovely,
They send us gifts in the post. We send them gifts. That, in a way, I feel, as much as it was Ben's business originally, and it gave him purpose and meaning, I think perhaps I didn't realise there was something I was also lacking at the time. And I think, we're in our 30s. A lot of people are married, got kids. We're at a completely different life stage. And I think perhaps there was maybe a bit of loneliness. And this business has given me a community of people with like-minded hobbies and interests, and I just love it. And I have made lifelong friends from it, which
Isn't that amazing?
is great. Yeah.
That's so cool to hear. I want to take it back a step because you both mentioned that you building a business with your partner, and we've had Gemma and Wilma on. Gemma and Wilma. Sorry, Will. Gemma and Will of Wilma's on, and we were talking about the dynamic and what it's like. And you've already given us some insight into some of the challenges of building a business together. You've also said that you've both got an ADHD diagnosis.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people come on the podcast. Funnily enough, there seems to be a through line. It's not, again, it's a generalisation to say more people than not, but there are a few people that have come on with ADHD. So there are definitely traits that mean people that relate to people building their own thing or wanting to put energy into something else. But how does, first off, building a business together and ADHD play a part in that? Do you find that there's additional challenges to that, or do you harness it in a really positive way and it allows you to put energy in the right place?
I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of you, but I feel like it makes you so hyper-focused that like Remade is like is Ben's baby, and because you love it so much and you really get involved in it, it can be a bit overwhelming, I would say. And I think we both found that at the beginning. And I was thinking about this the other day. Do you remember when you first used to get your orders in and we didn't have like a proper like process? Then we'd get overwhelmed. So I would sit with a notepad and pen and I'd write them out chronologically. So I'd be like, this is the first order you need to begin with. Which I thought was quite sweet of me, really. But I sometimes also get that because of the engagement in the community we've built. I travel into London once a week for my day job. I'll go onto Instagram, do all my DMs, put my phone aside for the whole entire day, get back on the train. I'll be like, I've got 40 DMs. Like, where do I start? So I think it can be quite challenging. And I've only just recently had a diagnosis, and I don't really think I'm really that clued up in it. But you've had yours a lot longer.
I've had mine. So I'm 36 now. Since I was 25, so 11 years. But mine's slightly different because I take medication for it. So for me, I feel like I'm hyper-focused. But I think if anything, it's helped me. Because I just want to like do stuff. I want to get stuff done. So, I mean, like, and I have to be at work and I'm like screenshotting stuff like this needs to be done, this needs to be done. And it helps with that aspect, but it can perhaps be a bit overwhelming for Alice because I'm like constantly go. And the only thing I think about is Remade. Now that I'm doing it full time, I also have to perhaps be mindful of you that just because I want to operate at a certain pace, like I want to get as much done as possible every single day.
But I think we've found a good groove now. Like there've been times where like Ben's like we've got to do this now, and I'm like, I'm on the train, like I'm so like my brain's so dead. But I think we found this good groove, and I think you now understand me a lot better.
I try to.
And I just think sometimes there's gonna be some challenges, but
it's a constant. You constantly have to work at it, don't you? I don't think you've ever completed either running a business or being in a relationship. And definitely it's very hard to complete running a business that you've built and you are in the process of building together. But I think, not that this is couples therapy, but I think it's important sometimes to be very honest about how you're feeling and how that dynamic might need to change. And again, like my partner is the sounding board when I get in from the office or any of the stress that I'm dealing with. And sometimes she can very honestly say to me, I can't deal with that right now. And I think that's important. Sometimes she doesn't say that. And she's incredibly supportive, but you have to learn how to communicate, don't you?
And I think we are quite good at that, aren't we? I think sometimes we, like particularly on a Sunday, which tends to be the day we spend together because Ben tends to work on like Saturdays. We go out, we go for a hike, and we're like, let's not talk about Remade today. And then we'll be like, okay, just one last thing. And then it's like, oh right, okay. And then like we do that constantly.
How do you police that? I was going to ask that. Has there been a Sunday where you've managed to not talk about Remade?
No,
because that's the reality, isn't it? When you're running your own business, it's tough. It's a tough boundary.
And like, there's never a day off. Like more for Ben, because he physically makes everything. So if we go away for a week, Ben he can physically switch off, but his brain is still going. Whereas you'll know this, social media is always on. Like even Christmas Day, you're replying to some DMs, you're posted like in the middle of the night. Like it's just, so that can sometimes be a bit hard.
And maybe when you're more established and you're not, and you've paid yourself for a few months in a row, and you've got some money coming in, maybe you can put some more boundaries in. But I think it can be a pretty unrealistic ask sometimes to switch off mentally, especially in the very early days of growing something. I struggle. I'm about to celebrate my 6th. Not to doom or gloom, it does get better. But my 6th anniversary,
that's huge.
That's
years, you know.
I'm proud of that. But
that's amazing.
It's almost flown by, and I still have those moments where I'm like, I cannot mentally switch off. And I'm still to meet someone that sat across from me and said, got the answer to that, John, because if they did, I would pay them money to learn it. And
I think all small business owners would be like, please tell me.
It's so lovely.
But I think saying that, yes, we're switched on all the time. But also I feel like grateful. I feel like if anything, it's I'm grateful to have that, because it gives, for me, you know, I'm hyper focused. So if I'm not focused on this, that that makes you feel good. I'm focused on something else, and it's most of the time it may be something negative, and you know what it's like. You know, you then start to like focus on a negative thought or like a feeling, and then you start to spiral. So, if anything, you know, I focus on it. Yes, it can be overwhelming sometimes, but if anything, it's done so much for me, and I think maybe for us in our relationship that.
And I think it does ultimately make us really happy. Like
there you go.
It gives
That's
you
the
meaning
key thing,
and
isn't
purpose.
it? When you're doing something that gives you purpose, purposeful work, it's okay to be switched on to that. It's when it's the work that drags you down and de-energizes and sucks the life out of you, but still takes up all that mental real estate. That's when you're thinking, why am I doing this? This is not tenable to continue.
And I think we're really lucky that actually, like, all of those DMs that I have are all really lovely people saying really lovely things. Like, it's not like we've got 50 complaints. Like, it's
not angry TikTok trolls.
No, it's just really like lovely people of our community who are sharing pictures of their dogs or asking about our day. And I think we've actually forged really strong connections. And like, for example, last night, one of our customers had mentioned to me that her dad was going through has cancer. And I hadn't heard from her for a while, so I just dropped her a message to ask how he was. And she told me that he had the all clear. So I was like, oh, this is amazing. And she came back, she was like, thank you so much for like asking. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. She was like, but no, it really means a lot. And I think it really is that we've created something a bit more unique and a bit more special.
And it's not, and that's not to, those conversations aren't to sell anything or to, you know, you're not
from a genuine, sincere place.
Here's another lead, you know, it's like, because you actually have a relationship with that person. And like, I think going back to, you know, when I was working in tech and tech sales, there are moments where I'm like, I just cannot go on. I cannot write another email. But then comparing it to a couple of weeks ago, we had our 2nd birthday and we did like a sale. Yeah. And I slept at the gasworks, and it's just me in there. Yep. And it's this huge space. And it got to like 1 o'clock, and I phoned Alice and I was like, look, I'm just going to stay over because I know that the minute I come home, I'm not going to want to get back up. But sleeping on the floor, I was like, this is an honour. You know, this is an honour. You know,
what a great way that you can frame it like
that. We've got like that much support from customers that they want to buy something from us that I make with my hands. That I've got sleep here, like you know, like this is great.
Someone even sent us a 2nd birthday card in the post, like, and it's that's where I'm like, these aren't just customers. Like, this person sent us a 2nd birthday card. At Christmas, our Christmas tree fell over and all the decorations smashed. I posted that on social media. We had like 3 customers send us Christmas decorations for our tree in the post that they'd made themselves.
I thought you were going to say Christmas trees. I think that's a step above, isn't it?
I don't know where to put them in the flat.
3 Christmas trees in a 2-bed flat. Where's this going?
But that's where I'm just like, to me, it does just feel different. And I think I love people. I get my energy from people. I love finding out about them. And maybe I'm a bit too nosy and prying into their lives, but we all seem to kind of bounce off of each other, so it just works.
Well, I think probably part of the success of the brand that you're building online comes from that genuine, sincere interest in other people. Is that something you're mindful of as you continue to grow? Because we've seen, I guess there are stories of brands that were doing that, and it's hard to commit to that as you scale.
Yeah.
So does that have does that have an impact on your plans moving forward? Right now, I get it. We're early stages. We're just starting to pay a salary, which is the reality.
Yeah. But
let's say this is a bumper year and it's hiring other people and the orders keep going up and processes need to change. Do you have I won't say a definition of where you want to go or a clear plan, but are you mindful of keeping that community, keeping that touch point with the people that buy your product and engage with you strong?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've had like retailers reach out, even 6-12 months ago, and it was very much even at the early stage where I'm spending my salary and putting it into the business. And I've been doing that for 2 years to keep it going. It was no, because we want to have that relationship with customers. Yeah. And it means from a retail perspective, their margins are usually 50%. So that means having the same product at a high price point. We're so passionate about providing something at a certain price point where I see value. And I think maybe that comes from my relationship with my previous career, where it's I think things are overpriced, or it doesn't feel good that a customer's not getting enough value from that.
Yeah, because the markup,
of course,
in tech. I mean, there's some pretty big numbers.
So I think going forwards for us, and we've had conversations about this, is we've now got someone in like Megan, who's great with some social medias, who's been helping us, but it's more a case of not losing Alice's touch on the social media stuff and still being fully involved. But how can we help to grow where we're not just spending money on ads, which is just really, really high touch? How can we provide value through our socials, but have that personal touch? But I think growing the business going forwards, I'd rather limit growth than for it just to become something where we're just sending product out there, fulfilling it for our warehouse, and there's no relationship with the customers.
And again, going back to the point that you make all this stuff by hand, that's a huge part of what is keeping you going, keeping you committed, keeping you energized. So to take that away, which again, if you keep scaling at a decent rate, there's potential that might need to happen.
We're at the point now where I can't make that many more leads. So we're going to have to limit those. But that'll be a case of we only sell so many leads per month. Right. I think for me, if I'm being honest, maybe it's a bit of a comfort blanket, making the stuff. There's definitely an element of control that I don't want to give it up.
I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Because I'm a perfectionist, but I also don't want to be that person that doesn't fulfill the potential of Remade because I can't give up that control.
But and you don't, and I think just saying that out loud again for anyone that might be in a similar position who can relate to that is really important. You don't need to know exactly what's going to happen in 5 years' time. You don't even need to know the answer as to if a massive order came in next week and we thought that could propel us to the next level and really mean that the next thing we bring out, the next product we do could be however much better, whatever. You don't need to know what's around the corner at that point. Because these are all things that businesses have to factor in. And it's that fine line. Yeah. You've built a community, you've built an authentic audience that engages. Because you could have a follower count or an audience of however many hundreds of thousands of people. And as a percentage of people that actually buy your product, it's tiny. So what you've done is built the community. Do you think that's been helped by the fact that your product is aimed at dogs? Because, dog people are great, aren't they? What a community of people.
They are amazing. I think also, so obviously it's dog leads, dog collars, but then we expanded into what we call as a phone sling. So
I've seen this product. I think you showed me when I came into GasWorks and saw your.
We sell more of those.
Wearing it on my way here. I'll show you after.
We sell more of those than any of our other products. So they are
that's worth knowing.
Right.
Okay.
But those are, again, Ben created it because when we were out hiking, it was always faff to get your phone out your bag or your pockets, or in the summer you don't have pockets. It's great if you are dog walking. So it's kind of multifunctional that it is great for someone who has a dog, but you don't also have to have a dog. And we have a lot of customers who also don't have dogs.
Got you.
I've got to say, so there's a lovely lady called Emma from Honey and Toast who spotted us when we were literally just around the corner Alex is taking photos and just wearing a Honey and Toast bag.
So I tagged her in it behind the
and she reached out and just said, look, I'd love to do something with some bag handles. So that's a partnership, our first partnership when we were 2 months in. But
and she's big. She was stocked at John Lewis at the time. She had a really high Instagram following. We had nothing. And she saw the leads and was like, could you make me handbag handles for this?
Yeah.
And so we've done that for the last 2 years.
But she was the one who had the idea of the phone slings.
Okay.
And it was a case of, do you think you can make something like this? And like, I think, first of all, it didn't necessarily work out for a partnership for us. We were like, I see me, I'm just like, just move forward. But we're working one together now. But I think with that's more of like a purchase that people put thought into.
Right.
But with the dog leads, I do believe it's more of an emotional purchase.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the price point of the leads, no one needs a bespoke, handmade, like best in class lead that will hold a ton.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a big dog.
Yeah. But and you know they're also not cheap. So I think being an emotional purchase definitely does help.
Dogs are family members as well. Like
and that's
there'll be cat
it?
people listening to this that hate dogs, and they should turn off this episode now. But don't turn off the episode.
We have been asked if we could make cat
leads.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about cat leads. Not to offend anyone.
We haven't done it, have we?
No.
But yeah.
Yet.
Yet. Never say never.
We'll
but
start
yeah,
a
we
petition.
have had lots of people giving us ideas. And actually, that's one thing I love is our community gives us ideas and we have acted on them. So then for example, our grab knots that we've just recently released came from a customer. Her dog is called Ren. So then we named the grab knot after Ren. And we've had loads of feedback into products that has helped Ben alter the design. And we have people saying, oh, can you make camera straps? Like someone really wants us to make for their sunglasses so they don't lose them.
Like a lanyard
ideas.
type thing for their sunglasses. Yeah, okay.
Like you do bear all of these things in mind and it helps you with the product design.
It's been amazing.
So it's really versatile, isn't it, as well, what you're working with and the other products that could be launched down the line.
Yeah, I think as long as we can provide, there's like a genuine like twist to something. Like, can we take something that already exists and make it better? Then we'll definitely entertain it. I think I've made so many prototypes. The first ones are always horrific. But unless I feel like we can put something out there that I think is a great product, like we won't do it. Like there's so many things we've tried. I mean, like the amount of money we spent on collars just trying to get right is crazy.
And obviously it's always got to have been made from mountain climbing materials. That's the thing. So everything is made
that's a really good point. So there's so many, I think especially with dogs, people want like matching sets, so collars, leads, maybe a phone sling. There'd be so much more. There's so much more demand for that we could meet. I think if we just use subpar products or stuff that's off the shelf. But I think the reason why it feels so good to put something out there when you're 100% happy with it, maybe it's not perfect, but happy that someone's really going to enjoy it and it's going to last forever, is that we use the very best materials. So whether that's a collar, whether that's a phone sling, whether that's a lead, we've got some products that are coming out, lifestyle products, the best quality stuff. That's where it's so rewarding to put it out there.
When I came into your studio space at the Gasworks, so Greg was kind enough to show me around, and I feel like we barged in when you were kind of mid work, but it was like walking into a sweet shop, and I'll go on to explain why. Visually, your product is just like a treat to look at. You can very clearly see what it does from a performance level, but to look at, there is just something that makes you smile about it straight away. So and now having met you and now learning about that kind of founder story into it, and the message you're putting out there to people that are buying your product, that's why it's connecting. Because now it makes sense. Because you care and that's got heart in it. But my initial reaction was like, oh my God, this is just visually appealing. Like, I don't need that. As you say, it's a heart thing. I don't need that. No. I wouldn't need to. But I was showing, again, my other half before I came in, she was like, we need one of those leads straight away. But just visually, it's just so appealing. So straight away, what you've built through the social, the community, the actual product itself is amazing. You should be really proud.
Quite aesthetically pleasing. Like when Ben first showed me the colours, I was like, I feel like this is like Patagonia for dogs. And particularly because Ben only wears black and white. He's wearing grey today, but his colour palette is very limited. But yet the dog leads are so bright.
If people haven't seen it, it's anything but a monochromatic.
It's like rainbow, But I think also what I love about it is not only do they look good, we're always priding ourselves on like them being premium, being strong, being durable, but they have like really great practicalities. Like they're water repellent, they're dirt resistant. This is really great stuff. So Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
It's crazy when you think we're talking about dog leads, right?
And we get so enthusiastic
we can be
about it.
that passionate about something, but it really is a case of like you just making something, people like it, you know it's good, you know it lasts forever.
I think that's why I made the dog comment as well, without fully knowing that your product's more broader than that, and from the sound of it, are going to become slightly more broad than that as well. But but I think when you think about how people make purchases for their pets, it's very different from any other kind of premium product. Like we are willing to spend a good amount of money on our animals. So and I think when you think about that community of people, especially when it comes to dogs, which I'm talking about for experience, there's a good, healthy community of people that want to invest in their pets.
And they want to keep them safe. Like you had feedback, didn't you, from a customer once saying like you should really lean more into the safety and security. Like my dog is my family member. They mean so much to me. And the fact that your leads are really strong and are 100% with the lock-in carabiner, he was like, you should lean into that more because people want to keep their family members safe.
It was crazy. It was this guy who's a banker, a guy called Peter, and he would send me these long emails about what he needs specifically. So we made some we do custom leads as well. It's I need this, and he's like, can we jump on a call? And I was like, okay, is this like a crazy person? But no, this guy was amazing. Like this guy's, got an amazing job. He loves to go hiking. He loves to go skiing. And he was like, you need to do a better job at positioning this about the strength because this is what matters the most to me. And this feeling of like this guy, we're on a Zoom call. There I am with my crazy hair because I've just had my mask on from sealing the rope. And he's taking the time out of his day to say like how we can improve like our positioning because we sent him something, he loves it, and he's like, I want to see you do more of this. And I was like, this is insane that someone's willing to invest their time.
People really do care. Like last weekend, we had some customers in the Lake District, and I got this voice note. It's like, oh my God, we just met like 2 dogs were remade, and they then took pictures and they put it on their socials, and that's just such a lovely feeling. And we had our very first remade moment, didn't we, down the seafront a couple of weeks ago. Ben and I were talking, and then he just suddenly beelined for this woman, and he's like, I'm Ben. And I think she was just a bit like, okay, what's going on? And there was someone using our dog lead. And we've always spoken about this moment about how exciting and like how emotional it will be. And it was just
I think I saw
lovely.
you post about that on your socials, and that lands, doesn't it? Again, with I'll call him Will now, not Wilma. Will and Gemma, they were talking about people kind of adopting this phrase, I'm going to go and get a Wilma's, and your brand becomes synonymous with something. And you seeing your stuff out in the wild, I just can't. I can't imagine what that feels like.
I had a uni friend as well who was like drinking in Shoreditch, and he like sent me this picture like from down here, and he was like, "There's a guy in this pub with like a dog with your lead."
Cool.
I was like, "Oh my God,
so cool!"
I wonder if we're both 36. I wonder if and we appreciate this so much because of maybe like the experiences like we've had through like, especially for me, not being satisfied in a longer term career, to now have this where you do feel satisfied. It's not necessarily just happiness, because happiness is like fleeting, but this purposeful sense every day. If I hadn't have had those years of like just graft, just thinking I don't really enjoy this, but I've got to do it, and this is the norm, and this is what I should be doing.
It's a very common narrative for people, and again, one that we see a lot. It's rare that I'm seeing someone come straight out of college or university and landing the thing they want. And maybe the thing they want then doesn't end up being the thing they want. I do think there's a rite of passage that you have to go through. Again, generalisation, but most people I speak to, in my experience of having gone through jobs, gone through the shit, and come out the other side of it to then land on something, if you're lucky enough, if you're fortunate enough, if you... I think there is a degree of luck. You have to stumble across something at times, but if you can find it, it only happens once you've been through the rough times to then land on it. It might be a generalisation, but I think that's a pretty fair.
No, I completely agree.
And I think that was why it's so difficult, because I was quite lucky early on to get lucky. I worked for a big company that sold software, and then I went to another company that was a big partner of that, and I had my salary was great, everything on paper was amazing. So like I got to travel all the time. There were so many benefits to it.
You had like a nice car, you had watches, like you had that lifestyle.
Everything on paper that I thought would almost, that sense of validation that I was maybe like enough, or I'd reached some kind of success. That's when I felt, and it's almost cliche, but I've literally so empty. And that was like perhaps the start of like the downward spiral of like my mental health journey, where I had this thing that I thought would make me happy or feel satisfied, was the very moment that I just felt just almost nothing. And that was really tough, because you feel like this is the route that I should be taking. And I've kind of reached this point where I feel like I should be satisfied with it, but I wasn't.
Yeah, again, I'm nodding along to that, because I can relate to that. And I think a lot of people have a definition of success. They're like, why am I not happy with this? I've checked every box that I need to check. You going back to your thing of needing a prestigious job with a prestigious brand, or needing a job that's going to allow me to make a certain amount of money, and you do that. You tick those boxes, you get the shiny things, and you get the cool cars, and when you're there and you're sat at the kind of like, let's call it the top of the mountain or a hill, whatever, and you're looking there going, this isn't how I thought it'd feel.
No.
And that's a crashing disappointment. And you feel, what a waste. But again, sometimes it needs to happen, as we say, for then you to come out the other side and realise. Yeah,
and it's difficult, right, isn't it? Because you're so fortunate to be in a position where you can kind of get to that point where you're waking up and you don't have to worry about. I've also been, not having enough money to I think even buy Lucozade. Years later, right from the shop, I'd have to check my balance to see, can I go and afford a Red Bull to keep me going?
Got
so
you.
it's so fortunate to be in that position, but it's difficult, I think, if you haven't perhaps reached the point where you think it's going to make you happy, and if you're fortunate enough that it does make you happy, like, that's amazing. But for me, it really wasn't that. That's where I think all of the values that I had and all of the beliefs that I had, I realized that weren't right for me. And you feel lost. You feel so lost, because the thing that you're striving for,
it's flipped on its head.
It has.
And actually you don't need a lot, do you? Like, we both say we feel our happiest when we are outdoors in nature, and we're like, is this because we're going back to like our human roots as like cavemen? But like when we go out and enjoy time together, we don't spend money. We are just simply like outdoors.
We had James Lawrence, Man About Country, come on the podcast, and he had a very similar epiphany when he moved down to Cornwall and just rediscovered his love for being outdoors and the outside, and just wanted to be this advocate for other people doing it. Which sounds silly. Like, everyone knows what they should be doing. Everyone knows that that the peace comes from reconnecting with nature and just getting rid of all your material stuff, but that's hard in a society that that prizes those things too. But it's lovely to hear that you know what your off switch is, you know what your disconnect looks like. Hello, me and Hugo are back on your screens once more to ask you to rate and review the podcast. Now, I was hoping that Hugo would look far more cute than he does. At the moment, he just wants to sleep, and I thought that cuteness might motivate you to rate and review. But it's just me, and I don't look cute. So I'm sorry about that. But if you could take the 15 seconds that it takes to rate and review the podcast, I would be eternally grateful. Thank you. Back to the episode. I'm going to ask you one final question, and then we're going to play a game.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll always apologise in advance for the games, because I try my best to make them relevant. But the question beforehand, for anyone listening to this, and I'm gonna target this at you, Alice, as well. But when is the right time to make I'm going to call it a side hustle, Ben, but only from Alice's perspective, in the definition being you're in a full-time job. You're also doing and balancing the work that you're doing with Remade. But when does it become the right time, or is there ever a right time to think, do I transition into making the side hustle the full-time gig?
I mean, I think this is a bit of a tricky question. It's a hot topic of what we're talking about recently. So Ben has obviously just made this transition, or making the transition and going completely full-time. I love my day job. Like, that also does really make me happy. I also like security and stability. So I'm not really as much of a risk taker as Ben. I think one day it could happen, but I think I need a bit more of a long kind of runway.
Right.
So I would need to see that it has been stable for a good amount of time, and then I'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I can see Ben is already there, and it is definitely the right step for him because it makes him so happy. The business is really thriving and it is like excelling. And I also do think if you don't give it a shot, then you'll always wonder what if. And if it doesn't work out, you can always go back and get a job. Like there's always jobs around.
It's the most common advice we get. Like you've got to do it. At some point you will get to a stage where you just have to commit to it. And then, worst case scenario is that there will be something. The universe will find you something to fall back on.
I think it's probably a feeling, isn't it? Like you probably just had that feeling in your gut.
Yeah, but what happened? Like when was the shift? Was it an internal shift? Was it a feeling, or was it very clearly, okay, I can see this, maybe it's a numbers thing. If I did this and this, there's a future here.
I'm definitely not I definitely don't plan that far ahead. I'm definitely
Neither do I. I don't know why.
Not numbers. It was a feeling. It was. And we had, this is very typical because I was having this conversation. Like Alice wants more financial stability. For me, I don't need a lot, if anything. So I'd prefer to spend most of my day happy doing something that's fulfilled, even if I have to go without, just day-to-day life. If I have to cut back on something, I'm happy to do that, to do something. But it was a feeling. It felt right. I couldn't afford to do or make that move, but it seems to have just happened. I think it was more a case of this is why I'm really fortunate to have worked in tech, even though there's things that definitely weren't fulfilling. You get garden leave. I had 3 months garden leave, so which effectively means I was paid for 3 months
to do what you love.
Do anything. Basically, don't go and get another job for 3 months.
Don't work in tech sales. That's it.
So that was a blessing. So that gave me the confidence, the ability to, as of last week, be like, I'm not going into another job. I'm going to stick with this because each month that I focused on this, we've been able to grow.
So you can see what the byproducts of putting that effort and energy into it.
I think the biggest mistakes that I've made throughout life are maybe just overthinking things and not listening to my gut. I went down the completely wrong career path because I thought I did something that I felt like I had to fulfill an insecurity, as opposed to just something that actually felt fulfilling. I probably should have been a carpenter, I would have been a terrible carpenter, but I probably would have enjoyed it. Yeah.
Maybe we should do you in a carpentry course.
Possibly.
There's going to be a part 2 at some point.
Part 2, remake carpentry.
He did say wooden spoons earlier.
It did it's on the mind. But I think just listening more to my gut. I think you have that feeling, right, of whether it's buying something or just being somewhere in like a certain space, of whether something feels right or something doesn't. I think if you have that right feeling, follow your gut. But also for me anyway, hopelessness is the worst place to be. So don't do something if your back is against the wall. If you really cannot afford to do it and you cannot make it to next month, the thought of not having anywhere to live or a roof over your head is the worst feeling. So just be mindful.
I think that's really honest advice. I think it being a feeling, some people listen to it and go, I want something more prescriptive than that. I want to know that I can draw all of this 12-month projection out. And a lot of people feel that's what needs to happen. But I started my business because a month before I started, I went into work and handed my notice in because I thought I was going to have a mental breakdown. I was in a really bad headspace. And it happened from necessity. I had no plan. I literally, for the first 12 months of my business, it was survival. 6 months into the business, COVID hit. I was literally sat there thinking, okay, just day by day, one step, it's the just keep swimming thing. One step in front of the other. There is not always this plan or super plan, master plan that you need to stick to. It is a instinct. It is a gut check.
It really is.
And it's sometimes hard to work out what that gut feeling is and to really listen to it. And I think that's definitely something that maybe you just learn with age or extensive therapy.
That also helps.
That could be it.
But I also think
it feels right for you.
It does feel right. And I think if you make the decision because it feels right, even if it was the wrong decision, at least
you've gone in with the right intention.
Exactly. And you feel like you did the right thing based on the information that you had or the way that you felt.
And you'll never ever regret it. There won't ever be that what if.
That is again, in the best way. That's what so many people say.
So
you will much. You will much it's better to regret trying it than never having done it. Just sitting there going, what if I'd done that? At least you know.
Yeah.
We're going to play a game. We have historically played a game called This or That.
Okay.
This is a game called From This to That. So you guys are called Remade, as in the business. You make a product from something else.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you, and you are against each other on this, so you're going to take turns.
It's a competition.
It is a competition. I'm going to show you a picture of something that has been made from something else. You need to tell me what the product is now, but you also need to tell me what the product used to be.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to be so bad at this.
We're doing this on a laptop screen.
Okay.
I hope neither of you need glasses, or if you do, you've got contact lenses on. Right, okay, Ben, we're going to start with you. I think this is quite self-explanatory as to what it is. So right now, just for anyone listening to this, what are we seeing, Ben?
A woman in a dress.
A woman in a dress.
Looks almost like a mermaid.
She does. It's got a mermaid-like quality about it. So it's a woman in a dress. So it's a dress. What did it used to be? I'm just going to check my notes.
So let's say, what's it made from?
What's it made from? So the dress used to be...
When my eyes are terrible. I mean,
It's okay.
You haven't got your glasses, have you?
Oh, no,
So
I haven't.
you were literally... Right.
I mean, it looks like it used to be a fish or a peacock. Why am I?
It used to be plastic bottles, but I like where you're going with fish
Okay.
I
and
thought maybe
peacock.
like fishing nets.
Okay,
Okay.
that wouldn't have been right.
I would never.
It sounds better than an actual fish.
I've never guessed that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've got 0
Plastic
points so
bottles,
far, Ben.
okay.
Sorry. Right, we're going to go with Alice next. So I think the product is quite simple. What are we looking at, Alice?
I mean, that looks like a wallet.
It is
to
a
me.
wallet.
Okay.
What did it
good.
used to be?
What did it used to be? I feel like it's some sort of like high-vis, like highways maintenance.
It's
no.
not. It's a fire hose. There we go.
Ah.
I just feel like this is an
That is
education
cool, I
for you.
like
I
that.
kind of like that. Would you buy a
Yeah.
fire hose wallet?
Yeah,
Didn't know that existed.
I didn't know they existed, but I perhaps would if it had been used.
to save someone.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily save them, but I think
Provenance that it needed to
Just a
save
bit-
a
I'm
life.
like-
just used.
Just it had to have been used.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So you're both on 0 so far.
Yeah, I
That's a
think that
tough
might
one.
be
That's
the,
a tough
the
one.
theme.
Okay.
Oh,
Come
that
on.
one's
then.
easy.
This is
Okay.
what we're seeing.
This is a bowl,
Yeah,
something
and-
you'd maybe see on a table, a
Thank
vinyl,
you.
As you know,
What did it used to be?
as opposed to a shop.
a vinyl record.
I think that's
Yeah.
correct.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
that
I
is
really like that.
That's one,
correct.
that's
I really
one
like
point
that.
to Ben.
Yeah.
Alice,
Oh, okay. This is a piece of artwork made from corks, from wine.
so it's not a piece of artwork. I feel like I've thrown you through the orientation of the image. I'm going to give you one more. This is awful podcasting now. Hope you're watching this
Is
on
it
YouTube.
It can't be a rug.
It's close to a rug. It's something you put your feet on.
Oh, a doormat.
It's a bath. It's a bath,
a bath
mat.
mat,
But do you know?
really?
Should we give half a point to Alice for that? How
I kind of-
competitive are
I
you?
think so. I mean, it was the wrong way round, but
But do you know what? I'll take
was
that
your
critique.
fault.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a point.
I mean, that'd be
Okay,
a terrible
thanks.
bath, Max. The cork doesn't absorb.
I didn't
Moisture,
make
right?
the
So you can-
product,
you can
but I
slip.
know it.
Yeah.
We'll give them some feedback.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right. What are we seeing, Ben?
so we have a pair of earrings.
We do.
They are long and they've got lots of holes in them.
Thank you. And
Okay.
what are they made from?
I'm really lost here.
Just anything. I'm going to push you for
Okay,
push you for an answer.
push me for an answer. I mean, could be made from like a. I mean, it's almost like honeycomb.
No, it's
No.
bike in a tube.
Ooh,
Again, never
you
got
like your
that.
bike.
Never. Who makes earrings out of bike in a tube?
And also
this
the,
person.
the,
I
the
don't know who
holes.
this person is.
There's no uniformity to the holes. So
No
it's,
idea.
Yeah.
They look pretty cool though.
I wouldn't even know
I
what
like that.
I
I
don't
bike
wear
in a
earrings,
tube
but
looks like.
I'd give that a
Would you
go
wear
if I
those?
did.
Dangly earrings aren't really my thing,
Nothing.
but
So you're
my
still.
mum might.
I can send you the link.
Yeah, thanks.
You're still on one. Okay. Alice, what are we looking at there?
A candle. I love a
Yes.
candle.
A candle. What did it used to be?
What, the packaging? Or the
The actual
wax?
candle has got some stuff in it. So
Okay.
it's been formed by
Okay.
this product.
It used to be.
I'm going to give you a clue. Something you drink. You mentioned it.
Coffee.
Coffee grounds.
Yeah.
Coffee grounds in a candle.
Oh, I like
That's-
that.
I do like
bet that
that.
smells really
Yeah,
good.
I do like that.
So you're on 2. Ben, you're on 1.
Yeah.
I think
This is
that's
getting.
some
There's
help.
jeopardy here, and I
Okay.
like
Ooh.
it. Okay. Ben, what is the product first?
Okay,
Sorry,
so
I
it's
thought-
a belt.
It's a belt.
Yes.
And
yeah.
what's it made from?
A bike tie.
It is made from a
Yeah.
bike tyre.
You can see the
It's
thread.
heating up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Brilliant. Well done. 2-2. I
Competition.
like this. Okay, you claw it back here, Alice.
Yes. This is an armchair.
Yeah.
And it is made from denim, maybe jeans.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Love that.
I feel like, is that an easy one?
Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
that
but
was
anyway,
But
you just
I don't
it's
mind
luck of the
having
draw.
easy
Who
ones,
cares? It's fine.
thanks.
So yeah, would you
That's
have that in your
cool.
house? A denim upholstered chair.
Maybe not.
No,
maybe in the
bit too
workshop.
colourful.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit too colourful for
Brings
Ben.
the workshop. Yeah.
Okay, this is the penultimate question for
Okay.
each of you.
Oh.
Okay. So
What we're seeing? Sorry, what we're seeing?
I believe this is a wallet or a case, like a glasses case or something similar.
I'd say
Yeah.
I'd take the
Okay.
wallet. It's a card holder, so it's a version
yeah.
of the wallet.
Yeah.
Yep. What it used to be.
It's really difficult because it looks like different grains of leather.
Yeah, it does look like leather.
Carry on,
Okay.
Leather handbags.
Alice. It's not your go, but you're correct.
okay.
So I don't know what to do with
Okay.
this. You really scuppered the game, but you are correct.
Where's the ADHD?
This is, I need to get it right. This is by Hermes,
Oh.
the luxury brand.
Yeah.
And this is something they do called, I think, Petit H. I'm not saying it in a French accent, but this is what they make from their leather scraps.
Ah,
If I
like the
told you,
offcut.
yes, and if I told you the price of this, now their Birkin bags go for tens of
Yeah.
thousands. That is
Yeah.
£700 for
No.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
for that small thing.
Maybe I'll share
No,
my
no
one
shade
with
if you
Ben.
spent £700 on something
No,
like that, but that's quite
yeah.
a markup, isn't it, for
Yeah.
leather scraps?
Yeah.
Sorry, Hermes, don't sue me. Okay, this is the last one. Alice.
Okay. Okay,
The
so
product, I think, is simple enough. What are we
Trainers.
seeing? We're seeing a trainer.
You probably know this because you're real into your trainers, aren't you?
So,
Do you know what it's made
I've
from?
got the worst taste in shoes.
Okay.
And I actually showed Alice these ones because I love the way that they made them.
Oh my God,
And
I
Alice was
remember
like, they're
telling you
horrible.
about this. I was like,
Yeah.
don't buy them, they're
Yeah.
disgusting.
Okay.
But I can't remember what they were made from,
Okay.
so please enlighten
Go
me.
on, go on.
I
Can
mean,
you
they're-
remember?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what they're made from. I know they are 3D printed soles.
Okay.
I think it's recycled plastics.
It is recycled plastic.
Yeah.
So you've both stolen each other's points, which means we're in a draw scenario, Tom. Should we just say we are? Okay, cool. We're in a draw scenario, which means you get the tiebreaker.
Okay.
great.
Now this is sudden death. So it's
Okay.
whoever this is buzzing
Says it first.
Yeah. So we haven't got a buzzer.
Okay.
So just say it out loud. Are we
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's Lady
oh.
Gaga in a dress made out of meat.
Alice just turned into a machine then. It was so competitive.
And I'm
It was
not normally competitive either.
It is Lady Gaga's dress, which actually, I did Google this, it is made out of meat.
Yeah,
Can
I
you imagine
remember
the, can you
this.
imagine the smell?
Just, I mean, why? Look, you've got to be brave, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there was a real
Yeah.
point they were trying to make, and I did Google that as well, and I
Yeah.
can't remember it. But to
Was
wear a
this
dress out of meat.
Around the time of when that vegan Netflix documentary came out, was it something about not eating
No,
meat?
I just don't
I
know if
mean-
you
Yeah.
could pay me enough to wear
No.
an animal like that,
No.
or a string of animals like that. But
Yeah.
anyway,
She
guys,
looks good.
she
looks
pulls it
great.
off.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've
That was really
You've made that
impressive. I
game really,
enjoyed that.
really work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right, we've got the closing tradition.
Okay.
Okay.
We now do the question from my mum.
I'm
Oh,
quite
let me-
excited about this.
Let me
Yeah.
do this. Everyone's excited. And do you know what? I'd like to think Mum doesn't disappoint when she leaves her questions. So let's do it. Let's have a look. There's always a first. Is this the right one?
Yeah, I was like,
Hi, Alice and Ben. I think your products are lovely. I think they're very inspiring too. Have you got any other ideas for future products? Thank you.
very
Of course, she's gone
polite.
right. She can be.
Yeah.
It's nice that she's in a quiet background. We've said this on a few episodes now. She chooses to sometimes stand next to a running bath. Or
I was going to say, I think
Or-
one of the ones
or a
I listened
washing
to, she was
machine.
washing like your
she's
nephew or something.
multitasking. She never stops.
Yeah.
So, what can you share?
Yes.
There are some things in the pipeline.
There are, and there's
yeah.
things we've been working on for the last 12 months. So,
Okay.
come the end of September, we're actually working on some amazing hoodies.
Okay.
So going into more of like the lifestyle space, but it's something that's again super premium. When you wear it and put it on, and I think a few of our customers have some of their
Yeah.
prototypes, like it feels amazing, and it will last forever.
Yes,
Yeah.
when we've actually like caught up with some customers and like we went to the Lake District recently, Ben goes out to the car, he gets it out, he makes them put them on, he's like, what do you think about the weight? What do you think about the textures? What do you think about the colours? Like, you are a perfectionist, but that is There's some other things in the pipeline, but I think probably are you keeping the other one under wraps?
You don't need to. You don't look. My mum's asked the question. You don't need to share.
I'd love to. I'd love to answer. We've
bring her down.
We've got a. We're still at the early stages. We've got first prototype, but a bum bag, and it will go alongside.
Okay, that just connects so well with your other pieces too.
But with the hoodie, it was more a case of not just like a piece of clothing, but we love to go hiking. So if you come down from a mountain and you're freezing cold,
just want to stick something,
and you feel and you want something that's like a weighted blanket and something that warms you up. So it's something that is kind of thoughtful. Yeah. But there's some really cool touches as well that complement our leads. Yeah.
If it wasn't so hot today, I would have thought Ben might even be wearing it.
Could have ripped one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. It's been a joy speaking to you both and learning more about how this has all come to pass and the journey you've been on so far. And from the sound of it, it's just going to keep growing. And
thank you.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be at this part of your journey, having this chat, and then hopefully in years to come we can sit down again and have another conversation. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. It's been good fun.
You're so welcome.
Thank
you. Guys, well done. You smashed it. That was so good.
You.
Really
was
good.
It okay? It was nice.
Hugo, going to sit up? Right, Hugo, have you got any comments? Have you got any comments on the podcast? I honestly thought this dog was a performer. He just couldn't be much more bothered about being on this. I just want you to see, if you can see on the camera, I left it up gently. See that? That's his bandage. He's not well at the moment, are you, mate? You okay? No, but... Hugo? Hugo?